Before adding any lighting to the scene, I'd like to have a brief discussion about global illumination. Let's go into the render setup dialog. And I've set up the renderer as NVIDIA Mental Ray. Let's go into the renderer tab. And I just want to show you we've got a quality of 0.25, which is a draft quality rendering. And in the global illumination, we have the default condition of final gathering being on and indirect diffuse or GI being off. These are two different ways of achieving bounce light or global illumination. And final gather is the faster but not quite as accurate method. If we scroll down here a little bit, we've got the default settings for final gather. I just want to change these up really quickly so that we can optimize our renderings when we do our tests. We've got an initial point density of only 0.1, which is seemingly very low, but I recommend leaving it very low for an outdoor scene like this. We don't really need to worry about the tiny cracks and crevices between things as much as we would with a close-up shot. So we don't need to achieve an ambient occlusion type effect in this wide shot outdoors. So I can have a very low quality solution for final gather. But then I can send out more rays. Let's set that to 100. And I can also interpolate better. Let's make it less noisy, set interpolation to 100. And most importantly, diffuse bounces is set to 0. With final gathering, we always get a diffuse bounce. That's the point of it. This really means additional diffuse bounces. I recommend setting that to a value of 1. So now we have a total of 2 diffuse bounces. Okay, so those are optimal final gather settings for an outdoor shot like this. If you have a lot of time to wait for your render to complete, then you'll get better results if you use indirect diffuse or GI next. If I turn that on, then final gather gets grayed out. For GI next, really all you've got is this quality, and that is just like the quality in the renderer here. This is the anti-aliasing quality, and under global illumination, this is the quality of the global illumination solution. And they should be in similar ranges, usually. So if I set my renderer to have a quality of 0.66, then I might want to set the indirect diffuse to 0.66 here as well. For the faster rendering, I'm actually going to use final gathering. I'll turn this one back off again. And we've got our optimized final gathering settings of initial point density 0.1, rays and interpolation of 100, and number of diffuse bounces. Aha, good thing I checked. It looks like it changed itself back to 0. So let's set that to 1 again. All right, so those are the optimal settings for final gathering. And I've set that in advance so that I will have good results when I do my test renders with Mental Ray Sun and Sky.